My name's Sigmund, Screen Times. Rupert, Toby, thank you so much for joining me. I've had a blast spending time with Sean and Julian over the last two suspenseful seasons. Season 3 obviously doesn't let up. I'm halfway through. I'm at the halfway mark of season 3, and I'm through another notebook of theories. What has surprised you about your characters this season?
For me, I mean, I had a tricky transition to superstitious beliefs and, believing in all these things and bartering with Nell's character, Leanne, and, doing all of that. So there was an element of it being the right thing to do, right? Because he's trying to be a better person and decent, and he starts feeding the homeless kids in the park and doing more and going out of the house and walking the kid and looking after the kid a bit more and doing all these things that he should have been doing. He's just missed that step of what he should have actually done, which is confronting his wife about the huge rubber doll we have in the house, pretending to be our son. So yeah, that kind of stuff, general everyday things.
Yeah, and for Julian, it's he's sober this time, so it's that in itself is a very kind of new thing for me. I had really kind of lent on that, I think, in the creation of Julian. I didn't really know exactly who he was without that. And of course, he uses that. It's such a fundamental part of his character because he uses it to kind of deflect from everything and distract from grieving and facing the guilt that he carries from the tragedy. So yeah, it was an interesting thing trying to work out exactly who he was without those vices. But yeah, no, really fun to kind of find a new kind of dimension to him. And yeah, it's a very new person. He's trying to kind of keep fit. He's, again, like Sean was saying, he's trying to be a better person. So it was quite an adjustment, but it was fun.
Given the collaborative nature...
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
So,
it's all right.
How rude.
No, it's a special guest from Syria. It's great. Given the collaborative nature with special guest directors becoming tradition with this production, if there's one thing you've learned about your craft as actors going forwards during this whole process, what would that be, and who was that from?
That's a really good question. I think, your goal is to always be a student of the thing you've decided to do with yourself. And, new people coming in. We got very lucky in season 1. It was such a solid group of guest directors and Knight, heading up the whole thing. So he set the tone and everyone kind of followed that tone, whether it be the coloring and the lighting. We had some differences with DPs, the director of photography changing. So it was really nice, but yeah, we feel very cradled. I feel very cradled by Knight and his kind of vision of the whole thing. So yeah, I think I'm still learning the best way to sort of get my point across to someone who's kind of, it's really important that you wear the white shoes. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Does that matter about his dead child? I don't know. So, there's those kinds of conversations as well as just the fantastic people who are around. So Nimrod, who has an excellent name, who was the director from seasons 1 and 2, he gave me a great insight to a guest person and how they feel coming in to work with people who are established.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, much the same, really. I think such a unique show and the way we make it, and kind of having all the action condensed into this kind of one location is really interesting. And the fact that we film it chronologically pretty much has this very kind of organic feel. I mean, it feels like a play, and it's very immersive in that way. And the set is this incredible building that really is like being in a brownstone in Philadelphia. So it's a very unique show in that way, I think. And yeah, I mean, I've learned so much. And from Knight, he was always I've always been a big fan of his, and I think he knows so much about this genre, and he's just a great storyteller, I think. And I think it's a really fun show.
Yeah, I've had a blast. Thank you so much, guys. One last question, a bit of a fun one, to close this off. Given Julian and Sean's love for food and wine and the amount of time you've had to spend together on the set, if you were to describe each other as a dish or a glass of wine or tipple, how would you describe the other?
As people or as their character?
As people.
He's spaghetti bolognese, 100%. 100%. Take him anywhere. Everyone's pleased to have spaghetti bolognese. Even babies is their favourite. Spaghetti bolognese without a doubt.
Yeah. What would you be? It'd have to be some sort of acquired taste. Oysters. No.
Bacon wrapped olives. Chocolate dipped Brussels sprouts.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get to do this again next season. Wishing you and everyone involved with Servant all of the success.
Pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.